In this video, we're going to be discussing how to kind of break down goals into smaller pieces. Now, this one has been covered thousands of times by probably even more people than you can count. It's a very common video topic, and the only reason why I wanted to share is because I wanted to kind of tell you what I think has worked for me. And again, I'm only a amateur entrepreneur and a small business owner. However, I might be more relatable than some of the people who are claiming to make millions of dollars online or wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning and somehow don't sleep. So that's what the purpose of these videos are for, is just to have someone relatable that you can talk to, kind of leave comments, or we can kind of make a little community or something. So in this video, as mentioned, I do want to kind of just share kind of what works for me. Number one, having a list. I know people don't like lists because it's kind of confronting and scary, but I find without a list or a way to track what I'm doing, I'm completely lost. Weeks can go past on a project and I have no idea what I'm doing. So a few things that I use is my reminders on my iPhone. I think that's better than just sometimes when you just have a notes list, it doesn't really have a deadline. The reminders are great because sometimes I'll be walking and something will buzz on my phone. Thinking I've got like a text from a friend or a family member, it turns out that I actually had to go buy something or do something for my personal life or for my business, and that's a great reminder, and it often kind of triggers me to react immediately. Like, instead of just having a list where you look at it and go, you know what, I'll do it tomorrow, you kind of get that buzz, you look and, oh, I need to go buy something, buy some headphones for the studio or something, off you go. It's gonna kind of trigger you. Now, the cool part about that, standard iPhone reminders app, it doesn't disappear. So even if you just swipe it away, it'll probably just buzz again, just like a kind of a text keeps popping up. Depends on your iPhone settings, but I find that's a great one. I also have a bit of a master list. Now, this one's a bit of a larger list that's kind of got everything encompassing on it. I did use a Google spreadsheet for quite a few years. Now I've moved over to Asana, just the free version. I found it quite useful just because it's got some nice categories and it looks a bit prettier than Excel. But Excel has, Google Sheets, I should say, has done me quite well for quite a while. I just make my own categories, such as, break it down into personal life and business, and then maybe some extra curricular activities or something. So for me, that is something that I do and have done. But there's also another way that I go about things, which this one might be a bit of a strange one for people watching, but as an entrepreneur, I hope this is something that you probably think about, which is, I believe it's called the pillars of life. So you have different categories such as finances, health, you have your job, you have spirituality, you might have relationships, you have your personal hobbies and kind of things you do outside of work, and even maybe one might be called personal development. I'm not sure on the exact topics, but it's pretty much those 6 or 7. I think it is called the 7 pillars of life, so do look it up. I actually have a chart that kind of ranks things out of 10. And every few months, just whenever I'm sitting down at the computer and kind of have some spare time to reflect on what I do, I kind of just fill it out. So an example of that is maybe your relationship's going pretty well, but it could improve. Like maybe you want to do some more dates. You might rate that a 7 out of 10. And then what you do out of that, it's kind of useless just doing like a ranking without any sort of afterthought, is make some actionable items afterwards. And it might just be 1 or 2 items per category. So for example, you might do a 7 out of 10 and then realize that you haven't gone on many date nights. And you might write as the actionable task, make 1 date night this month, and then that will go over to your iPhone app again to kind of set a reminder in a week to book in the cinemas or a date of some sort. And again, you've kind of going from large to something actionable and then something immediate. And that's pretty much it. And that's how to get a wide view of kind of what you want to do. Another one example might be to do with work. You might say, you're pretty happy with your current income, you've grown quite well, however you'd like to get that pay rise or something. So you might give that again, maybe a 6 or a 7. And then you write maybe 2 or 3 actionable items, such as contact my boss regarding that upcoming project, attend work early every day this month, and maybe come up with 3 new business ideas that you can propose at the next meeting. And so you put that in, and again, maybe set the deadline, maybe put it into your iPhone app where you've actually got some trigger points. You can't do all three at once and go on the date night and do this. So kind of space things out, be reasonable. I mean, if you're already hitting kind of a 6 or a 7, you're probably doing pretty well. But again, this is called maxed out for a reason. We are trying to kind of go above and beyond just our average, just to further improve our lives. So that is something that I do. I don't really talk about that one to many people because it sounds a bit crazy. But it's done me well, and I do look back on my old charts and kind of see how things have chopped and changed. I kind of, I keep a realistic view about it. Like, sometimes relationships go up and down, or business goes up and down, and there's some scary times with our health and circumstances that are sometimes out of our control. But it's nice to kind of have a reflection time once every few months, or ideally once a month or something, to kind of go, I am happy with this, or I'm not really happy with my current friend situation. Maybe I'll make an actionable item such as contact an old friend, and then I'll book in a dinner with them. I'll set it as a reminder. And then whether that improves that statistic or not is to be said. You might meet that friend and have an argument, makes it worse, but you have to do something. You can't just ignore things, kind of let months go by. And also it's so easy to kind of forget about the other elements of our life, such as spirituality or health. And we're so focused on making more money and trying to make $1 million for some strange reason. That's not how I viewed a successful entrepreneur. And I think every area affects every other area. So if you've got some pretty bad health issues, it's going to be hard to make more money. Or if you're having some big arguments at the moment with certain people, probably good to get that off your chest and kind of resolve it in a, healthy and happy way. So that's something that I do. And that's why I think it's important to go through each of those steps. So yeah, this video is an important one for me. I could probably talk for hours about what steps I actually took and kind of why I do it and how it relates to my journal and kind of how it all ties in together and how it's changed my life. I don't have any promises for you, but yeah, it has really helped my life, to be honest. So if you're kind of struggling, where do I begin? Have some self-reflection time, go through those 7 pillars of life or whatever it's called. Make a few steps, and then set some actionable items with some deadlines and see how you go. If you do 2 of them out of 20, you do 3 of them out of 7 of them, you do 1, it's a step in the right direction. So I hope that's helped, and quite passionate about this topic, as you can tell. Unlike some of my other ones, I'm kind of a bit jittery and a bit scared to talk on the camera, but I could probably do a seminar over this topic because it really has changed my life.